Hey, I'm Jesse. Let's have a devotion. We're going to look at Psalm 65, and I've got a pretty cool cross reference to share with you. A couple of them, actually. This is God's care for the earth. It's to be sung together. It's a psalm of David, a song. Praise is rightfully yours, God in Zion. Vows to you will be fulfilled. All humanity will come to you, the one who hears prayer. Iniquities overwhelm me. Only you can atone for our rebellions. How happy is the one you choose and bring near to live in your courts. We will be satisfied with the goodness of your house, the holiness of your temple. You answer us in righteousness, with awe-inspiring works, God of our salvation, the hope of all the ends of the earth and of the distant seas. You establish the mountains by your power. You are robed with strength. You silence the roar of the seas, the roar of their waves, and the tumult of the nations. Those who live far away are awed by your signs. You make east and west shout for joy. You visit the earth and water it abundantly, enriching it greatly. God's stream is filled with water, for you prepare the earth in this way, providing people with grain. Okay, now watch for this, just a quick pause. You can see these themes about God's sovereignty over water and the end result being his provision for people, specifically in grain. But look at what the text says. You soften it with showers and bless its growth, soaking its furrows and leveling its ridges. You crown the year with your goodness. Your carts overflow with plenty. The wilderness pastures overflow, and the hills are robed with joy. The pastures are clothed with flocks, and the valleys covered with grain. They shout in triumph. Indeed, they sing. All right, so there's this cool idea of like the wild pasture covered with flocks and hills that are covered with just like wild grain. Look, the valleys are covered with grain. The pastures are clothed with flocks. Like God has provided for his people, but look, even the wilderness pastures overflow. So he's provided for his people, but all of creation together, even out there in the wilderness. See, this is about God's care for the earth. Even out there in the wilderness, God is providing. I've seen this on Tiger Mountain. It's kind of cool. Flowers that cost a lot of money at the Pike Place Market just grow for free, but you gotta truck up the trail of Tiger Mountain to find some of them. And I know that like deforestation can be a really big deal to a lot of people here. I trust the loggers who come to Tiger Mountain. I trust that they probably plant 3 trees for every one that they plant. And here's the other thing. I'm on that mountain all the time trying to keep the dad bod at bay. I haven't been as much lately. I need to do more. But here's what I see. Trees plant trees. Since the bomb cyclone hit my house especially, I've seen new evergreens pop up. And in just those 6 months, they're already really tall. They're starting to grow really fast, it seems. And I didn't plant it, okay? I didn't plant it. God did. Like, you know who's planting trees every year too? Trees. Like out in the wild, God's taking care of his creation. Now, look at the theme, how it goes from water and God's sovereignty over water. We could see like the hydrological cycle in view, and its fruit ultimately is the grain. All right, we've got this introduced here in verse 9, and then you can see how it comes back at the end. The pastures are clothed with flocks. All right, you soften it with showers and bless its growth. So the showers are rain. The crops grow, and then we've got valleys covered with grain. They shout in triumph. Indeed, they sing. I think this is a personification of the wilderness pastures, the hills, and the valleys, all named in verses 12 and the opening of verse 13. They're all demonstrations of God's glory. He is the one who is sovereign over water itself. Genesis 1, the very first two verses of the Bible. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness covered the surface of the watery depths, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. We've talked about this, how this is the tohu vabohu, and it's chaos, and God is the one who is sovereign over it all, and he brings things to order. Jordan Peterson has kind of spoken around that theme, and his basis of tohu vabohu is grammatically sound in the Hebrew. It's true. It does convey that sense of chaos and darkness, but the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. Now look at Mark chapter 4, verse 37 through 41. A great windstorm arose, and the waves were breaking over the boat, so that the boat was already being swamped. Jesus had just been teaching. He's already on the boat, and he's like, hey, let's just go across. And so some boats all team up, and they're going to cross the Sea of Galilee, which is actually not that big of a sea. It's very small. It didn't take that long to get across, but it was stormy enough to freak everybody out. He was in the stern, sleeping on the cushion. So they woke him up and said to him, Teacher, don't you care that we're going to die? He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the sea, Silence, be still. The wind ceased, and there was a great calm. Then he said to them, Why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith? And they were terrified and asked one another, Who then is this? Even the wind and the sea obey him. This is not a psalm, but it has inspired a song lyric that we've sung at the Redemption Church. The waves and wind still know his name. So God, since before the creation of man, at day one of creation, is sovereign over it all, sovereign over the waters. Look at the way that water seems tamed in this. You silence the roar of the seas, the roar of their waves, and the tumult of the nations. At least in this piece of verse 7, I can see a clear foreshadowing of Jesus. There goes Jesse again, taking a psalm that doesn't name Jesus and saying it's about Jesus. Jesse, you better not highlight one of those verses and say that all the psalms are about Jesus, or I'm going to unsubscribe and unlike and give you a thumbs down. Hey, guess what? It's about Jesus.